'99 Mustang Cobra really moves the Cobra to a new segment, putting independent rear suspension on it, an all-speed traction control system, and a little bit more power into the engine. You'll see that this is a very balanced performance vehicle that really, I think, will put it in line competing against some of the BMWs and some of the other imports versus the traditional Camaro pony car segment. I'm sure that when you drive it, you'll have to agree with me that we've really taken the Mustang heritage to a new era.
SVT stands for the Special Vehicle Team, and that name really says it all. It's a team of people that are dedicated to doing really special, unique vehicles. Well, SVT is always an exciting place to be, but in 1999, it's going to be outstanding. The 1999 Cobra is the flagship of the SVT lineup. Of course, the big news is the independent rear suspension and traction control, a little bit more horsepower, 320 horsepower to be exact. A super performance sports car, but there are also a lot of other refinements. Once you live with the vehicle, you really get a sense for how much we've actually gone into detail and improved the overall ownership experience and the kinds of things that you live with day to day. Little thing here, little thing there, but you put it together and you've got an outstanding package. Now let's take a behind the scenes look at the products from the people that put this whole thing together.
I'm Paul Giltman, and I'm the Vehicle Engineering Manager of Mustang.
I'm Phil McEnroe. I'm on the Ford Mustang vehicle team.
If you have a '98 Cobra and you like it, the new car is really the same character, only we've refined it and taken it to the next step. We put a new feature on this year, and that's traction control, and it's standard on all Cobras.
Basically what traction control does is it stabilizes the vehicle platform in icy and snowing conditions and reduces the driving task the driver has to perform.
It looks at wheel speeds, and it knows if the rear wheels suddenly accelerate too fast, and if it sees that that's happening, it goes through a very methodical way of fixing it.
What the first thing the system does is tries to remove power from the rear wheels to stabilize the vehicles. And it does that by retarding spark and controlling the air-fuel mixture going into the engine. However, there's cases on really slippery surfaces like ice or in some types of snow where the system will continue. In that case, what we do is we cut fuel and spark going into the engine and apply the rear brakes to either one or both of the rear wheels.
The other thing that's unique about our system is that we have what's called a power start feature.
Which means we can do burn-offs, drag starts, and everything on dry as long as the car accelerates forward. But at the same time, when we're in snowy and ice conditions, the system detects that and keeps the car stable.
We have new Brembo rotors. They have much better high temperature characteristics in that when you go out and drive the car really hard, they don't distort as much. So it means you can go out and run your car harder, longer, and get better front lining wear.
The steering system for '99 was revised to give the driver a more precise steering feel.
One of the things that most customers really complain about, and that's turning radius. We have a lot of people that live in cities and like to do U-turns, so we basically took 3 feet off of the front turning circle. We also made a lot of detailed improvements. We put a new boost curve in the car. We changed the T-bar size to up the efforts at speed. We put a better slip yoke in the steering column, and we changed the preload. And the sum total of all those is that the car feels better on center, it has less free play, and it feels much more linear. As you go down the road and you're just going to do a very gradual lane change, you really want a car there that does what you tell it to. You want the car to start to move sideways as you move the steering wheel, and you want it to be as linear as possible so that it really gives you a perfect feedback loop.
The ABS system for '99 is a 3-channel, 4-sensor system, which basically means we measure the wheel slip at all 4 wheels, front, rear, and we look at side to side and fore and aft. 3-channel means that both front wheels under braking are controlled independently and the rear wheels are controlled together, which will stop the car at 127 feet from 60 miles an hour.
We also did 3 things to make the brakes more linear. We changed the diameters of the pistons inside the front calipers. We also changed the master cylinder size, and we also changed the pedal ratio.
When you're braking, what you like to do is when you press on the brakes, you like the car to respond to your inputs, right? So initially, you like just a little bit of lead-in. Most people do. And then when you press the brake, the pedal feel and feedback to the driver during braking is better, improved.
And we probably should talk about suspension. First, the thing that everybody's really excited about is we put a new independent rear suspension in it, or IRS. Now, if you look at our IRS, we've got upper and lower control arms, and then we have a fixed tie rod that's behind the wheel center that controls toe and gives you lateral compliance understeer. So the subframe of the IRS bolts into the car in the same areas that the existing solid axle bolted into. We also have the spring loads going into the same place where we do with the solid axle, and the shocks go into the body structure in the same place. The reason we put an IRS in the car is manifold. Much better handling, better ride, and ride characteristics, and it also helped crispen up the steering. You hit a bump in the middle of the corner on washboard roads, the car just swallows it up. And we think that as you go out and drive the car, you'll feel that it rides better, and you'll realize that we haven't sacrificed any handling. As a matter of fact, our new IRS makes the car handle better than it ever did. Along with all the other improvements, we've widened the rear tread of the car 1.2 inches. If you have a wider tread width, it transfers less weight to the outside wheels, so it makes the car better in the middle of a corner. If you look at convertibles, we've really made 2 big changes. We've added underbody braces, which run under the seat and reduce the energy that go into the seats, so that we make the convertible feel more like a coupe.
What we did is we added structural members to the car to improve the rigidity of the chassis on our convertible vehicles. That improves the precision of the vehicle when you're driving. It reduces what we call noise, vibration, harshness when you go over bumps, and what we call shake, which is natural in all convertibles. When you hit bumps, the car has a tendency to bend around. What we've done is eliminated most of that with the new structural members under the car.
And we have a much thicker liner, or the material that's underneath the bows in the top. And we've actually reduced wind noise by 3 dB inside the car with our thicker top. I guess what I would be most proud of is the refinement that we've put in the car. So all of the things we do a little better, ride, steering, handling, braking, NVH, and the fact that along with that refinement, we didn't alter the performance characteristics of the car. We made this one much better.
The Mustang Cobra engine is the 4.6-liter 4-valve. It's a twin-cam configuration. It's a 90-degree aluminum block. We're really excited about it for 1999. You also have to remember that it's 4 valves per cylinder, so that's a 32-valve V8 engine. We went from dual ports in the cylinder head to a single port. We've also changed the combustion area per se. That was the big item that took us from the swirl to the tumble, which is much more robust in terms of handling the combustion of the engine. The swirl combustion, think of a tornado. Vertical motion. In a tumble configuration, think of a rocket engine. So what else is exciting about this engine? Well, we've increased the horsepower from 305 in '98
To 320.
at 6,000 RPM. Also, the torque has gone to 317 foot-pounds at 4,800 RPM. We're pretty excited about that because what's that mean when you put it in the car? It means a 0 to 60 time at about 5.4 seconds. We've also shown with professional drivers on a closed track, we could get a top speed of 150 miles an hour. We wanted to make sure this was a special product coming out of Romeo in the modular family. And I think with the 2 operators following it from the beginning of the line to the end, you get that. Evidence of that is when they autograph the signature plaque. I would say this engine's got all the power in the world. It is smooth, it is quiet, and the exhaust note of the total car is just fantastic. You know I'm home when I pull up in the driveway in my Cobra. We didn't stop with just the engine though, we also improved this manual transmission. The transmission remains a manual 5-speed. It's a T45 design. First and second gear synchro gears have been improved, and we've adopted a new 11-inch, which is a larger clutch design. That means it's easier to move through the gear pattern, and you'll notice it even through reverse. You find that that transmission just loves it when that engine gives it all it can get. We retain the 3-inch exhaust tip, which is chrome in the rear. It's dual exhaust. It maintains that distinctive rumble. When you're involved in providing a product to a customer, and they feed back to you how much they love it, there's clearly a pride of craftsmanship there. That to me said, we've got the total package. When you pull up and see that Cobra on the fender, you know you have an exclusive from Ford Motor Company.
Well, the engine and the chassis, that's the body and soul of the car. But to me, the most important component of the car is the driver. So when I get inside, the very first thing I do is I turn the music on. And with the new Mach 460 premium sound, hey, it sounds good. There's a lot of power features in the vehicle. The vehicle has the power mirrors, the power seats, the power windows, power locks. There's a lot of power behind the car. It has 6-way powered seats. It really positions you right behind the steering wheel. It also has side bolsters for the back and for the bottom support. When it's time to take off, it feels good, you're comfortable. And just before I go off for a ride, I can let the visor down and look at the illuminated visor mirrors on both sides. You have power mirrors on the side. The driver is very in touch with all the leather that's around. You have the leather steering wheel wrap, the shift knob, you have the parking brake. Everybody likes the touch of it. For the past couple of years, we've had leather seats optional. And the take rate last year was so high, it was about 99.9%, we decided to make the leather seats standard. So that's just another thing that the customer is getting. This car has remote keyless entry. Hit the button, get in, start the car up, and just go. When you're inside of the vehicle, everything is very close to you. By day, you have white face gauges, and by night, illuminated aqua blue with orange needles. The air conditioning is standard. You know, when you get hot, turn on the CFC-free air condition. We have 2 colors this year for the interior. You get midnight black, and you also get medium parchment. These 2 colors are available in all the packages that we offer. It looks good, it feels good, it drives good. We've tried to take this car and move into the next millennium. We've brought back the muscle power car, and it's a very edgy design. The first time I saw this car, I thought, wow. There are a lot of little components that make up this brand new Cobra that stands out from the rest of the crowd. Well, the first thing that we tried to do is we have the new scoops, the new hood scoops. The fascia is unique. It's unique from the V6 and the GT. It has the fog lamps to go along with it. There's polished exhaust tips. This car has unique tail lamps, and these tail lamps are pretty much the same as the Export, the cars that are going to Japan. With that amber look, there's a rich kind of look to it, and it makes it classy, it makes it exclusive, it's unique. For '99, the exterior colors are the real red, the one that you see in front of us, and we also have the crystal white, and we have the black. And the new color for 1999 is the electric green, and this car has the metallic type of look. Really strong look. People are turning their heads all over the place. I thought I got turns before, but I'm really getting turns now. As you can see, the Pony versus the V6 and the GT, it doesn't have a corral around it. It's untamed, it's free. It can go. The Cobra has the snake badge in quite a few different places. And you know when you see this Cobra, you know it's a Cobra and not a V6 or not a GT. There's a new styling for the wheels, 5-spoke, 17-inch aluminum alloy. There's a new center cap for the SVT also that's embossed. It gives it that unique feel and that unique look. And when you get behind the wheel and you're riding down the road, everyone knows it's a Cobra. They know it's different. It looks different, it sounds different. Overall, the 1999 Mustang Cobra has a great exterior, it's a great interior, and it makes for a great package.
It's hard to describe the dynamics that you will experience if you drive the car. You just can't get the sense of control, enhancement to the steering that we've made, the improved ride. You really have to get out there and drive it yourself. It really is putting a new meaning to the SVT badge for Cobra.
I first looked at the performance specs on paper and I thought, okay, that's pretty good. But it wasn't until I actually got into this car, a prototype, at the Dearborn Proving Grounds and took it for some hot laps around a handling track that I thought, wow, we've really put together a heck of a nice vehicle. The car's handling, its fluidity, the way you can push it into corners with a lot of confidence, it just makes for a great, great driving experience. The key differences for 99 are really in refinement. It's in the way that the vehicle handles. The independent rear suspension is the key contributor to that. The vehicle's a lot more stable, particularly over uneven pavement. It's a lot more comforting at the limit and near the limit. The traction control is also great for those of you that live in snowy or rainy climates. And it's especially useful in a car that has as much power and torque as the 99 Cobra. I know what you're thinking. Here's the guy from Ford telling me how great the 1999 SVT Cobra is. You don't like that. But I can tell you, as a Mustang enthusiast, I have a '66 convertible, that this is really an outstanding car. And it's a lot of fun to drive. And the numbers on paper tell you part of the story, but the rest of the story you can only learn by actually driving it. So I invite you to come down to your Ford SVT dealer and take it for a test drive. I'm sure you'll be very impressed.